Destination 2020 plan is to continually advocate for our members and be the voice of business for our community. All candidates that qualified for local office last Friday qualified as Republicans, so the upcoming election on May 24th will decide our county leadership for the next 4 years. As leaders of our business community, I want to urge you to reflect on the impact that business on our community has had. We are fortunate today to kick off this election season by hearing from the 4 candidates who are running to be our next sheriff. I will now turn it over to Brooke Anderson, who will be moderating for us today.
Good afternoon. For this forum, each candidate will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves, 2 minutes to respond to each question, and 2 minutes for a closing statement. Candidates have not seen the questions. Our candidates are seated in alphabetical order, and opening statements will be given in alphabetical order and each following each question will be answered by the next candidate in alphabetical order. So we'll go down the line, so please keep it moving along. Our timekeepers, Brenda and Savannah, will be holding up warning signs, not warning signs, but warning signs. Let you know that there's not a speed trap there, but 1 minute, 30 seconds, and when your time is up. We do ask the candidate, for the deaf people in the room, including myself, we do ask that you use a microphone and pass it down so that everyone in the room can hear what you're saying and hear it clearly. So at this point in time, we'd like to begin with our opening statements, beginning with Mr. Jeff Johnson.
Are we on? Well, good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Jeff Johnson. I am a candidate for your sheriff. I want to say thank you for coming today, because it tells me that you're here, you want to make an informed and educated decision. And it's very, very important when you choose your sheriff. Oftentimes we think about a sheriff, we think about the patrol cars. You might have been the recipient of a traffic stop or a citation, or you might have been the victim of a crime, things of that nature. But your sheriff's office goes much, much further. There's many, many facets to your sheriff's office. There's a patrol division, there's a detention, there's a investigation component, there's communication. And ladies and gentlemen, what I ask of you today is just that you would evaluate the candidates based on their qualifications and experience. And I think oftentimes, and I hope that most of you would agree, that popularity's got us in trouble oftentimes. But we need to make informed, educated decisions. Me personally, my name is Jeff Johnson. I've been a resident of Dawson County for 32 years. Mom and Dad moved up here, my family moved up here in '84. Went to high school here. I met and married my high school sweetheart, Lisa Johnson. She's a long time, well, she's lived in Dawson County her whole life. Lisa and I were blessed with 2 sons, Zach and Josh. Zach was a high school football player. He went on to play for the Trojans of Troy University. He married a Gainesville girl, Wooten director. They reside in Troy, Alabama, where he serves as a youth pastor. My youngest son, a recent graduate of Dawson County High School. He's now in the University of North Georgia pursuing a degree in health. Lisa and I attend Lighthouse Baptist Church. When I first got into public safety, I got on with the volunteer fire department in the late 1980s. Mr. Thurman can remember. I did obtain my firefighter certification. I did obtain my first responder certification. I served in that capacity for some time. Until the law enforcement bug hit me. I began my career in Hall County in Gainesville. It was a bigger agency. It was more, I won't say more progressive, but it was busier. And I wanted to cut my teeth there. And I think it has benefited me through the years. It's exposed me to a whole lot more different areas, different styles of policing, different styles of management, things of that nature. But I ask for your support, I ask for your consideration. And again, my name is Jeff Johnson, I'm a candidate. Please, I encourage you, jeffjohnsonforsheriff.com. Please learn more about us, learn more about our campaign. Thank you very much.
Mr. Perry.
Thank you. I'm sitting here between Jeff and Frank, and I'm just glad we don't have to wrestle for this show. I want to thank the team for hosting this event and for having me. And I want to give a big thanks out to Tim and Kathy for the meal. They do a great job. My name is Jeff Perry. I'm married to my wife here, Lisa here, we've been married for almost 26 years. We're a long time, we have deep roots here in Dawson County. We have 2 adult children. Jade, she's here for spring break, and our older son, Jacob. I'm a member of Liberty Baptist Church, where I'm very involved there. I'm a deacon there, and also for the last several years have served as vice chairman of the deacon board. Member of Rotary, member of Civitan. I've been a youth coach here in multiple sports, coaching your kids and grandkids. My background, I have almost 30 years of law enforcement experience, and the last 18 as a chief parole officer. During that time, I've been blessed to work in, go up through the ranks from parole to assistant chief to chief. The last 18 years, I was over 7 counties in northwest Georgia, managing a staff and a budget. And that's where I bring experience. I work with multiple sheriff's departments, multiple police departments, federal and state agencies, law enforcement agencies. I've set strategic planning, I managed budgets, managed staff, and I directed operations. Since I graduated from the basic class in 1989, being work, I've accumulated numerous law enforcement training hours. I was part of the 1996 Olympics, where I served as a part of the State Olympic Law Enforcement Command. And also in 2004, I worked with the Secret Service when the world leaders came to the state of coastal Georgia, GA. I have a degree in criminal justice from Georgia Southern University, was Georgia Southern College. I've completed the Certified Public Managers Program at the Carl Benson Institute at UGA, and I'm currently completing my master's degree in criminal justice. I've had the fortunate to work in this county, to serve in this county, and I'm asking that you vote for me as Jeff Perry for sheriff on May 24th. I believe I can bring a depth of experience that is unmatched to the law, to the office of sheriff. And I think, you know, the next 4 years is we're going to be concerned about who the sheriff will be, because it's going to direct our community and our public safety here in Dawson County. So again, ask for your vote, and I thank you for being here.
Well, I have to read just a little bit. You hear me now? Okay. I can speak kind of loud myself, so I'm going to kind of read from what my bio is. My bio is very extensive. I've got 32 years of law enforcement experience in every field, from the sheriff's field. I've worked in every division. I've worked in the Georgia Department of Corrections. So there's an array of experience that I've had myself. My background and experience, like I said, is 32 years experience in the field of law enforcement, currently for the Georgia Department of Corrections. This summer, I will graduate after all this time, thank God, with my bachelor's degree in criminal justice in 2 months, thank God. And then I plan on going to pursue my master's degree as well. Already got it signed up, I'm working on that. And that's something I've wanted to do all my life, and finally I get a chance to fulfill this. I've also attended numerous management and leadership courses. I've attended command college through Columbus State University. I've attended executive training in Colorado. During my career, I've acquired over 3,000 training hours. I've been to a lot of schools. Currently, I've attended domestic terrorism. I've attended gang investigations, something I think we're going to be seeing in this county. I hope not, I pray not, but you never know when the doors of trouble may walk in here, and you got to be prepared for it. During my career, I've actually testified in Dawson and Hall County in the courts as an expert witness for accident investigations, for drug and for DUIs. That I have done, and it was an experience having to deal with some of these lawyers that's coming in that we've had to face. As officers, we've all had to face this. Maybe some of y'all have to face this. But you have to prepare yourself for this. You have to be experienced. You have to be prepared. Currently, I'm in charge of 102 employees in Hall County. I've got 9 divisions that I have to oversee. I'm the training coordinator. I'm the terminal agency manager for our GCIC, NCIC, and also, I apologize for this, but it's something I had to write out. I conduct internal affairs. I'm responsible for hiring and exit interviews for all of our employees that comes in and out of Hall County. I've been involved in 3 riots in Hall County. I've assisted in numerous incident commands. I've been, one homicide case, I'll just remember this real quick, is I assisted with was an Amy Holmes. She was a 12-year-old girl that was killed in Hall County by an ex-cop, actually. And it's sad to say that that little girl lost her life for that. But I am running for sheriff in this county, and I'm asking you to go on my webpage, look at what I've got. I'd like to talk to you individually. This right here is an open forum. I know we're talking and discussing some issues here. But visit web pages.
Thank you. Mr. Wooten.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having us today. Jeff, I think you turned this off on purpose. Can you hear me? Is this on? Can you hear me now? I can talk loud. Let's try that. We, got it on now?
Get turned.
Thanks. First part, they're for Trump or Cruz or whoever he wants to be. No, jokingly, all the people up here today, I think are good people. Obviously, everybody here has the best interest for Dawson County. All of us believe at some point that we are the candidate that's best for this county. For me, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've done, but for the most part, I'm going to talk about what I think that the sheriff's office means and the role of the sheriff means. I grew up, and this may sound corny and crazy, and some of you can remember this, but I watched Andy Griffith's show. And I watched when the sheriff cared about his community. And I watched when people, one episode where Barney slipped up and talked to a reporter one time and said all the things that Andy shouldn't have done and had a court case over it. At the end of it, Barney had to stand up and say, Andy showed me all this time how he treats people, how to treat people, their citizens here. Yeah, everybody up here has been here. I've got 18 years in law enforcement. I've commanded every division here but one, and I've worked in it. I've investigated homicides. I've been the commander over investigations of those. I've been there when two moms in this county lost their kids in drownings in the lake, and we looked for a week, and I had to deal with that from every aspect of as being a patrol commander there, investigation commander. I think it's just more than that, though. I think that, when I come in here today, I look at each one of you, and for the most part, I know everybody in this room. And different than some people, I believe that popularity does matter. I believe that you should know who your person is, a sheriff. I think what's wrong at every level is that we have, every 4 years, people start coming to you and say, I love you. I think we should start judging on what people have done. We have a thing about our policy at the sheriff's office, which I really, really love. And it says that the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. So I think when you look for somebody to be your sheriff, or you look for somebody to be any position, you should look at what have they done. I've chose 18 years to not go anywhere else. I've had opportunities. I've created a drug curriculum that went all across the country in 11 states. I had opportunities to leave this place every day. When I got to that point, this is home. This is where I want to be. I'm not chasing a dollar. I'm not chasing a position. I love Dawson County. I have to be your sheriff of Dawson County. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Jennifer. She was a teacher until she stayed at home with her kids. I'm grateful for that sacrifice that we've made to raise our kids at home. I think that's important. My father-in-law's a pastor at New Life Church here. I serve as an elder at the church. I'm also the outreach director. But I think it's important that we remember when we vote to look back at what things have done, what people have done. Not just what we're promising, because we're getting that at the national level every day. Everybody's promising things that they can't keep. We've heard it all. It's not about who's the best speaker. It's not about, we've heard, Obama was an amazing speaker. If any of y'all think he was a great president, you probably shouldn't vote for me. So being smooth doesn't make you good. Look at the person's heart. I love the opportunity. I read a book one time. It was written by Ed Young, a pastor in Dallas, Texas. It said, when you're hiring somebody, the thing you need to look at is heart. You can't teach heart.
At this point in time, we'd like to start asking questions. Mr. Perry, you will lead off with this first question and go down the line from there. Dawson County has become the retail hub of our region with thousands of non-residents passing through and shopping in our county every day. What steps do you intend to take in order to protect existing and developing businesses?
Thank you, Bruce. That's a huge question and a high priority on my list coming in. I just saw recently where when the Kroger's coming, that's going to bring in, I think, about $450,000 tax revenue, income tax revenue, and also through there, that place right there where the new program is going in, I think they see 33,000 vehicles per day. So we want to have when a business comes into the community, they want to be able to feel safe. When people come here, they want to be able to feel safe. And one of the things we want to do is called DDACS. It's DDACTS, and what it is, it's a data-driven approach to crime and traffic safety. And what you do, you use the data, a rolling 6 month data, shows you where your traffic accidents are, shows you where your most crime is at, and that's where you commit your resources to. The old days of doing the things like we've always done just doesn't get it anymore. We have to be smarter and work smarter instead of harder. The other thing is continue a relationship with state and federal law enforcement agencies. Those are resources that we can bring in who will be glad to come in. And over my career, I've worked with both in multiple task force, and I know GSP would be able to come in and provide additional service here in Dawson County.
Thank you. Mr. Sosebee?
Okay, the outlet mall itself is, it's going to look like the Avenues when it's building right beside John Beagle. An example being, if you've been to Avenues down to Rapparetta, it's going to be huge. We're not ready for that here in this county by law enforcement, by no means. At the outlets out there, what I've looked at and what I'm actually talking to some people about is putting in a precinct there. Assigning an investigator out there, and also where patrol cars will come in and out, and there'll be visibility there for people to see us in and out of the community, and it will deter crime. What I've heard from friends of mine down in other counties, Cobb County, Gwinnett County, that are actually running jails, we're having issues, major issues with shoplifting and thefts in this county, armed robberies. And what's happening is they're making the arrests in these other larger counties, and they're telling them to go to Dawson County. The outlet mall here is prime target for crime. So as we need to boost up our patrol, we need to look at additional resources through federal and state. And I, as well, I've worked with the state and other areas with the feds and with the GBI, and hopefully we can bring in some kind of a program that will delete any opportunities for these folks to come in here to cause crime. We're facing this, and I promise you, the future is very scary. Because if we don't meet this right now, these folks are not going to stop at the outlet malls. They're going to come into your homes. So we've got to stop this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wooten?
I gotta stand, I can sit. That just makes me about as tall as Frank if I'm standing. The outlet mall. I want to talk about Dawson County because that's where I work and that's where I chose to work. Dawson County, I've been patrol commander. We lowered the crime rate in Dawson County. When I was assistant commander and patrol commander of the patrol division and investigations, we reduced burglaries by 36% in 3 years. A lot of that had to do with the retail crime. We're going to continue to do that. That's going to continue to be a passion of mine. Has been, always will be. I'm looking out through some of the crowd. I've seen some of you, what we've done with crime in the city and some other places that you had that we were able to get a grasp on. You can't evaluate it over 6 months. Crime's got to be looked at daily. And I can tell you this as your sheriff. I know now we get a report from dispatch every day, twice a day. I will look at that report myself every day to make sure we're doing everything we can to prevent crime. One of my biggest plans that I want to do is to bring in some officers that we have. I'm not asking for additional funding. If we get that, that's great. I work with the commissioners to try to do whatever we need to do to help our citizens. But I'm going to take the 108 positions that we have right now. I'm going to move some administrative positions around, and I'm going to create that group that's going to go out and target that 400 area. They're right, we do have a problem on 400. That's our biggest influx of people. We have a problem at Outlet Mall, we have a problem at Walmart, and those problems usually occur sometime around lunch. That's when it begins. So I'm going to put together a task force of our own deputies here in Dawson County. They're very experienced. They're going to go over to that area, and we're going to stop the crime. We've done it before when I was there, we'll do it again. We're going to bring those people in, and we're going to work in that area to make it safer. We have to attract businesses. If you can't attract businesses, if they're breaking windows out. I understand that. During my time as the assistant commander and patrol commander, no robberies. You just mentioned a robbery. It didn't happen on my watch. It won't happen on my watch if I can do anything about it. And also the stuff at the outlet mall and things that go on, we will handle it. I can tell you, I can promise you that. I created a program called a ghost car when I was over patrol. I took an old car that we have at the sheriff's office that doesn't run, we've used it to put there to make people believe that cops were at the out of the mall. There's been ways to do things.
Mr. Johnson.
I think the answer is simply this, is that we have limited resources in Dawson County, and we know that. We have limited staff. We're having a massive growth of business coming into our county, and we have to put some responsibility on our businesses. And basically what they're doing, they're coming in and then we're allocating all of our resources, go picking up a shoplifter here, a shoplifter there. And ladies and gentlemen, whether you live on the west side, the north side, the south side, it's not fair to allocate all of our resources just to respond to thefts of that nature. Now, having said that, you still need to feel safe. You still need to be able to go to the mall or the business district and shop. And there's where I think that we need to implement a program it's basically a community policing program designed toward our business districts. That's where we work in partnership with our business districts. We utilize new technology like blast outs, like email, things of that nature, to where we meet. We coordinate it. As your sheriff, we'll coordinate the meeting. We'll invite our businesses that's coming in. We'll invite our loss prevention to come in. We'll sit down as a group and we can communicate on a daily basis. When my wife worked retail part-time for a while, and they knew when folks were coming in that were suspicious and so forth. And I think that's where we need to start communicating. We need to bring our businesses together. We need to get them on board. We need to make sure that we're providing them with the tools and the training necessary to where they can hopefully prevent some of these things. Again, we're seeing a massive growth. It's coming, and we have to be proactive, and we have to take steps to prevent the crime. We can't be reactive to this. Crime's been down. Crime has dropped drastically for the past several years. We know that, but we still can't turn a blind eye to it. We still have to put the provisions in place, and I think that's where we come together as community policing. That we get with our business district, we get with our businesses, whether it's a precinct, whatever the case may be. There's options available for us to work with their businesses to put some accountability back on them. Thank you.
Thank you. The second question we have, Mr. Sosebee, you will lead off. Considering the fact that the Sheriff's Office represents the largest departmental budget in the county, approximately $7.2 million, and it requires great coordination between staff, partnering agencies, what experience do you have that makes you qualified to manage and lead this office?
I've been in law enforcement, like I said, for 32 years. I work with some budgets. I work with the budgets here in Dawson County. Currently, in my facility that I'm at now, at Hall County Correctional Institute, our budget's only $4.9 million. But the warden and I, we sat down and worked this budget. We just actually turned in our budget. We actually got an increase. We actually got to hire a new employee. That's great. Here in Dawson County, we're going to have to focus on the budget extensively. And the reason I say that is we are limited on resources here. And we're going to have more officers. That's inevitable. It's going to have to happen. We're going to have more officers here. We're going to have more investigators. The reason I say that I need an investigator at the outlet mall and the cars at the outlet mall is we've got to reduce crime. We've got to slow down what's coming into this county that is causing the crime. These are the individuals that I'm actually housing right now, several that's actually from Dawson County that was arrested in other counties and from other counties as well. But these individuals are looking at 20 years. Some of the ones I have in there are going to have 20-year sentences. But we've got to stop this. We've got to get people involved. We've got to, this community-oriented policing, that is a major task that has to be taken here in Dawson County. We need involvement from all the citizens, business owners. This is going to be everybody's group that's going to join together, hand in hand, walking side by side, so we can solve this and defeat any crime that comes into this county.
Thank you. Mr. Wooten?
Thank you. For me, the budget, obviously I said earlier, and I'll say it again, I've been the commander of all divisions but one. I've been in charge of the budget of the patrol division, of investigations, of the courthouse, of the school system. We work with the school system, with school resource officers. We work together to set that budget. I've got the experience of your budget here. First thing I want to say, though, that I want to mention is, I'm a conservative. I'm not going to ask for your money until I've used my money. And that's what's going to happen day one if I'm your sheriff. There's 108 positions at the sheriff's office. Until I feel that I have utilized all 108 positions to the best of my ability, I'm not coming to you for any more. That's my pledge. Now, we may get to the point where I have to go to the commissioners and say, look, I've done everything I am. But I want to be able to lay the blueprint out and say, here's what I've done to the commissioners. I want to be able to show, here's the things that I've done myself to move people around, to take a bigger burden on, and move some of the burden out to the road. We've got positions, guys. We have 108. We can move some positions around, and that's what I'm planning on doing. I think that goes to my benefit, that I have been here for 18 years, that I have worked these divisions. I'm not saying that this sounds bad, but I know where the fat's at. I know where I can slide people around. I know where we can combine a few duties. And I know where we can take those positions and move them out to the road like we've all talked about. That's what's got to happen. At some point, we've got to be more proactive with what we're doing. The crime has went down. We've done an amazing job. We put a lot on the backs of the men and women that are out there every day wearing bulletproof vests and guns. And we're going to put some other people from our department out there. I'm not coming to your pocketbook until I've used mine. I think that's the way it should be. I don't go to anybody and ask to borrow money for my groceries and I have $15,000 in my savings account. That's not the right way to operate. I'm not going to do that now, and I'm not going to do that as your sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan?
For the past 7 years, I've commanded. For the past 7 years, I've commanded your detention center. Ours is arguably the county's largest liability. When I say that, what I mean by that is, and I've said this to other different groups that I've spoken with, and not taking anything away from the road department, things of that nature, but if we don't fill a pothole and someone cracks a wheel or something like that, the county's somewhat liable. Your detention center's completely different. We're in charge, care and custody of about an average of 165 people a day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's the sheriff's largest single budgetary component. It's the sheriff's largest single liability component that we have. We have, over the past 7 years, we've worked to reduce our budget. Every year, every day, we're constantly analyzing, finding ways to reduce our exposure liability. We're finding ways to reduce money, to save the county money. When I first took over in 2007 as the jail commander, the sheriff, we was paying roughly about $400,000 a year in inmate medical. Those numbers are astounding. Today, we're paying roughly around $305,000. We've saved the county nearly $100,000 in the span of the past 7 years. Has healthcare cost residents 7 years? Absolutely it has, but we found ways to trim it. We're trimming in our inmate food services. Each and every day we're looking for ways to save the county money and still maintain an optimal level of service. I'm the same way, I feel the same. I think if we get to the point, I think the people need to have a say-so, whether or not we want to increase our funding, whether or not we want to increase our staffing. As your sheriff, I'll come to you and I'll tell you, and I'll give you the facts on black and white of why I think we need to do this. But ultimately, I believe it's through the town hall meetings. It's through the people. Are you satisfied with your level of service? Do you want more? And I'm going to give you the reasons. One, we are going to trim fat too. There's positions, I agree, that needs to be changed, that needs to be better utilized. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Perry?
Thank you, Brooke. Do you actually manage the budget? Some of you have here in your business, and some of you have as commissioners. You know, you have to make the tough decisions. Sometimes it's not popular. And 2008, I was over 3 offices in an area that square miles was larger than Delaware and Rhode Island. And so I implemented what was called results-based budgeting, meaning if we didn't get results, if we weren't getting results for something we were funding, and we were not going to fund that no longer. We took that money and put it somewhere where we're getting results. The other thing, 2008, everybody felt there's an economic downturn in the economy. We had to make some tough decisions. So I was over 3 offices. I made the decision to close 3 offices. And again, I say work smarter, not harder. We closed 3 offices, allowed people to work from home in their cars because we were mobile. We had the technology to do it and return $2 million to the general fund. That's your dollars right there that I returned to the state fund. Not to our agency fund, but to the general fund. And during that time, the reason we did these things, and I know Mike, y'all had to make some tough decisions. We weren't getting pay raises. We're looking at layoffs and furloughs. We didn't take one single layoff, and we didn't have one single furlough during that time. And again, I look at 3 questions when I go in, when I take over an officer, when I go into underperforming office. 3 questions. Same thing you do with your business. What are we doing that we need to keep doing? What are we not doing that we need to start doing? And what are we doing that we need to stop doing? You can run GM, you can run Eastern, you can run Delta, you can run any of those companies with those 3 questions right there. And I have experience, I made the tough decisions in 2008 that affected real lives so that we could come in under budget. And again, it's results-based budgeting. We can't keep doing things the way we always done just because, you know, we always done it that way. You know, it's a different time, a different era, so we need to be smarter with our money. Thank you.
The third question, Mr. Wooten, you'll begin. What do you view as the strengths of Dawson County Sheriff's Office and what areas need improvement? And how do you plan to address the areas that need improvement?
First part for me is easy. The strength of the sheriff's office is the men and women that go out every day and work. That's the easiest strength that I can tell you. We've got a great group of people there at the sheriff's office that work hard every day. Those men and women take opportunities to go to work and tell their families bye and may not come back again. That's got to be the strengths in the organization. That's the backbone. The things that I think that we could do better is I think that's a difficult question because I think we should be striving to do better at everything you do. Every single facet of that sheriff's office needs to be better. Not because Billy's done a bad job. I think Billy's done a great job. But because I should do better the day that I take office, and I should do better the next day, and then the next day after that. We should strive every day to be better. The sheriff's office has some areas that we mentioned up here that we want to target. I think we need to be more aggressive with the UIRS. That's an area that I'm concerned about. I don't want somebody to get killed in this room by the UI driver. Some areas that we talked about at the mall, we said just retail a while ago. I don't understand that just retail because, see, just retail led to somebody coming to the mall and pulling a gun on a couple ladies' Zales and tying them up, which could have very easily led to not just a theft, not just a robbery, but could have led to a murder. See, I believe when you stop small crimes, you stop big crimes. And that's what we're going to target, small crimes in Dawson County. That way we can take out those offenders before they get here and start with the small crimes. We're not going to have home invasions because you're not going to be able to do burglaries in Dawson County. That's what's got to happen. You've got to go with the broken windows theory. We've worked with this at the park. Some of the city council knows I've done this in the past. We trimmed the bushes, we ran off the problem kids over there, and we brought back the good people that were afraid to go to the park. We'll do it again at every aspect of this county, whether it's more south, east, or west. That's my commitment to you.
Thank you. That's one thing we'll agree on, the strength of your sheriff's department lies within its people. You have some of the finest staff there, you have some of the finest men and women that commit on a daily basis to public safety. I think if any of us, anybody in law enforcement got into it for any other reason than commitment and sacrificed our people, we missed the mark. I also think that the greatest need for improvement, again, lies within our people. And again, what I mean by that is that we should be constantly striving to increase our knowledge, to increase our skills, to increase our capabilities. And oftentimes in an agency, and some people can attest to that, we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, things that we excel at, things that we're not so good at. Now we need to constantly be working on those things that we're not so good at. But be mindful that we have some folks here, and I've seen it over my career many times in law enforcement. Years ago in Gainesville, I had some of the best burglary people that there were. They weren't big traffic-oriented people. They weren't the ones to get out and stop cars, but by George, they'd catch a burglary in your neighborhood, I promise you that. They were good at stopping people, suspicious people walking up and down your roads. Now, am I going to take a candidate like that and put them in a traffic division? Absolutely not. I want them where their heart is, where their passion's at. That's where we want them to serve. And then we want to provide them with the tools and the training. Again, if I have someone that's, and I care about your homes, I care about your businesses. I'm not a big traffic-oriented people or person. I'm one of these that I will rely on the Georgia State Patrol for a lot of our traffic enforcement needs. We're already in discussion and talking about the possibility of future things. I want the officers in your homes. I want them in your neighborhoods. I want to get back to community policing where you know your officer by name. Mr. Matero, if they know you personally, they're going to be more inclined to take better care of you. I promise you that. I want them in your neighborhoods. I want them in your homes. But the strength of our people, the strength of our agency lies within our people. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I agree with the first two with the sheriff's department. I heard the CEO of Delta speak one time. He said, we're not in the airline business, we're in the people business. And that goes for everything we do right now. You know, the Sheriff's Department, the internal customers, and U.S. external customers, I think the guys and women at the Sheriff's Department do a great job. You know, right now we're seeing a time when it's popular in the national media to bash the police officer. If you look at 40 million, it's usually 40, like in 2015 there was 40 million contacts between law enforcement and interaction between law enforcement and the general public. And only 1,000 of those involved where a law enforcement officer took the death of someone else in the line of duty. And out of that 1,000, only 9% were unarmed. So, you know, this is a misrepresentation. One of the things I think we need to improve on, recruitment and retention and succession planning. Right now, since since January 1st of 2011 to December 31st of 2015, we lost 86 deputies here, 86 personnel members at the Sheriff's Department. If you get that trained, I mean, if you do the math, $8,000 to train someone, times that, comes out to about $684,000 that we're training and sending to Hall County, for South County, Alpharetta, and North Fulton. So we got to do a better job of that. We got to go to North Jersey College, and we got to offer internships. We got to recruit. Once we get them here, we got to retain. Now, I know some people saying they can do this with a budget, doing that with a budget, but the fact of the matter is, we need to look at paying these folks some more money. And I know had to make some tough decisions in 2008. Now we're looking good. Now we're looking forward. We need to keep these people right here because in the long run, you're going to pay more. I think just recently we lost someone.
First and foremost, your employees are the paramount of your department. I'm fortunate in Hall County right now to have some employees that's 25, 26-year veterans. The youngest employee I have with her right now is 3-year veteran. Out of 35 that's inside the prison. We're blessed. Here, there has been a lot of employees that's left the Dawson County Sheriff's Office. I saw that when I was here for 16 years. It's unfortunate that we lose this type of experience, but it happens. We have counties that surrounds us that are paying quite a bit more. You're looking at Forsyth County, starting jailer down there is $33,000 to $34,000. We're here, we're paying $29,900. In Hall County, you're looking at $34,000. It's right off the street. We've got to get the pay to keep the people. But I also will stress, it's part of your leadership. If you lead your employees, they will stay. And that's what I'm experiencing in Hall County right now. We've got a new staff, new leadership that's come in, and we're thriving. And I'm proud to say that before every one of y'all. We are doing a fine job in Hall County, but we can do that here in Dawson County. We need these officers here. These officers want to stay here. I have a program for grades 9 through 12, for an example, to retain some kids. I want to do a little police academy with them for about 6 weeks. And once they're done with this, these kids that don't go on to college may want to retain and come back and put in an application and work for the sheriff's office. If they go to college and obtain their criminal justice degree, there again, they may come back. Sheriff Parker's experiencing that dramatically right now in Forsyth County. So there's ways that we can keep folks here. Thank you.
Thank you. The fourth and final question, Mr. Johnson, you'll lead off. Working within the parameters of the current sheriff budget, what is your plan to recruit and retain quality officers and staff?
We need to make use of all available resources. Been fortunate, as I explained to you earlier, we are losing, or what you heard earlier is we are losing officers to other agencies, to the private sector. I understand that, I know that. And I know that we have to lead by example, and we have to get our officers to buy into what we're doing. We have to get them to volunteer our program. We have to get them committed again to our public service commitment. Now, as far as to retract, and I believe we need a program in the high school, it's an untapped resource pool. We have SROs up there, but we need them to touch and base. We need to have a police explorer program. We need to get them encouraged. You know that your detention officers, your detention staff is a stepping stone for young men and women to come into law enforcement. We need to be making all available use of that resource pool. We need to be taking advantage of those, and I've been fortunate, again, to work at other agencies. I have gentlemen and ladies that are getting close to retirement ages that are calling me, asking me, say, look, Jeff, if things work out for you, would you consider me? And absolutely we would. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could bring someone in with 20, 30 years experience that's retired from another agency, that's an investment that you don't have to pay for. We don't have to send them to the academy. We don't have to get them trained. We don't have to get them taught. We can put them into positions and have them to go from day one. To be a mentorship, we need to get that. We need to get our focus again on public service. That's where we need to be. Again, this is law enforcement. Law enforcement is a service. It's not a business. And I think somewhere down the line, a lot of agencies have lost track of that. I worked for a police department years ago. It was so money-driven, it was so ticket-driven that we lost the service, or the agency lost the service aspect of it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not what you're electing. You're electing the sheriff to take care of you, to take care of your family. Traffic is a side note of that. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
You know, just recently on that last question, that's what I spoke about. One of the areas that needs improvement is recruitment and retention. When I worked for the state, in my area, I had the lowest turnover rate in the state. And that was from 2008 to 2015 when the economy went bad. I mean, these people were staying after, once we started making, coming out of the economy, we still retain these folks. And you don't have to do it with money, although money is a big part of it. When you try to raise a family on about $18,000 to $20,000, 2 or 3 kids, it's hard to do. And you go out there every night and every day with a weapon, stopping a felon or stopping someone that you may not know who's on the other side of that car. And a lot of times you pay for what you get, just like in the insurance business. Insurance people, you hear Carla, people talk about insurance, I'm paying this much for insurance. But when you actually need it, you want to know that you got a good insurance policy. You want to know that they'll be there for you. As far as the recruitment and retention, I work with Dr. Jennifer Allen, who's the head of criminal justice at University of North Georgia. We plan to start an internship program here where we can get students in here who are interested in the law enforcement, criminal justice background, and also where they come in here, we can try them free, do an internship. If we like them, we offer them a job. The other thing is to work with the school system here, the school board, and Damon, in order to start a public safety technical part to their technical portion of the school system. A lot of schools throughout the state of Georgia have these public safety segment in their technical school part. So we'd like to start that program with the public schools. The other thing is outside of money, training. We plan to utilize FBI National Academy as a tool, recruitment tool. If you come here, you sign a contract, we send you to the FBI National Academy, which is one of the best training departments for public safety.
Mr. Sosebee?
What I plan on doing as far as retention, not only the National Academy is a place to go, but the National Institute of Corrections, that's free training. All we have to do is put them on a plane, fly them out, and they go to this training in Colorado that I've attended for 10 months, executive training. It's some of the top training that's offered by the federal government in the United States. These officers can go here for advanced training in criminal justice. They can go for advanced training through traffic. Look it up. It's a great tool for us here at Dawson County. That's why I chose it when I was at Dawson County to go there, especially for jail management. Also, the program I talked about with the kids up here in the high school, it's not only there. Lanier Tech, I've already spoken with Harry Chapman, who's over the academy there in Lanier Tech down in Gainesville. And also over in Reinhardt University, they have a program over there where these kids are graduating and becoming police officers. These are areas that we can recruit these young men and women to come in here. That's areas that I've looked at and that we will explore to retain and to draw in more employees for the sheriff's office. They're going to be leaving if we don't do something with them. I mean, we've lost, like Jeff said, 88, 89 employees. A lot of these employees I'd love to offer a job to come back. These employees, there were some that they were great assets for the sheriff's office. Some you may even know that's gone now. But I would love to have these young men and women back for Dawson County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay? Tony?
Thanks, Brooke. Trying to be fair here. Like Carson, I don't get to talk to him. Yeah. For me, this is a different situation. Retention, it's a complex issue. You can hear train. And I'm big for training too. But the problem you got is one of the guys that we just lost, that's a dear friend of mine, who I'm trying to get back if I win this election, left because he had training. He got a lot of training, and he went to a private job that pays a lot of money. That's something that every department has. They can pick on Dawson County all day long, but I can tell you this. Forsyth makes more than Dawson. Dawson makes more than Lumpkin. Dawson makes more than Gilmer. Dawson makes more than Pickens. Let me go and bust your bubble. Forsyth doesn't make the most. Forsyth has people going to Johns Creek and Dunwoody. This is something that's a problem with us in North Metro Atlanta because we border a lot of big counties with a lot more resources than us. We can pay them whatever you want. Open your checkbooks today. My clerk's sitting right there. Whatever you'd like to write, we'll pay them whatever you want to pay them. But you can only afford a certain amount unless we raise taxes or unless we do exactly what our commissioners are doing right now by trying to bring in retail, bring in more tax dollars that comes from that, not our pockets. That's a complex issue. You talk about retention. Everybody keeps talking about more money, more money. You read all the management books you like. Money's not usually a motivator. It's a demotivator. We need to be competitive with other places. I agree with that. But it's not something that takes our officers away. Read every management book you would like to see. Most people don't run from jobs. They run from bad bosses. That's usually where they run from. But we've got guys that are getting amazing training. They're going to go to work for insurance agencies and IT places. We lost one that went to work at Regions Bank. He's making 3 times what an officer makes. Retain that, guys. That's tough. That's going to be tough for anybody this year, Sheriff. What we have to offer is a great place to work and a great community, which it is. And we have to do everything we can to show them. And we're no different than anybody else. The school system, I bet Forsyth County makes more than Dawson County. I bet that if you go closer to Atlanta, they make more than Forsyth County. We have to offer an environment that they want to be in. And that's what I plan on doing as your sheriff. I've been out there on patrol. I've been in investigation. I'll be there January 1st at night if I win, making sure that we're protecting your streets and myself along with them.
Thank you. Now time to hear the 2-minute closing statements from our candidate. We will begin with Jeff Perry.
Thank you. Heard several of the candidates talk. You need to look at experience. You need to look at background. You need to look at education. But when you look at that, I think you'll see that I have that unmatched experience to lead the Sheriff's Department the next 4 years. This is not something, if we make a mistake during this election, we can't correct it 6 months later. It's a 30-year thing. So we need to make sure that we elect a person who's had the experience, who made the tough decisions, who's managed a budget, who made the tough decisions on a budget, who has a history of recruitment and retention, successful recruitment and retention. And I say I'm that candidate. Tony talked about it's not really the money, but if you see some of the places where the Debbie's going, it's because of the money. And so I'm not advocating that we just open up a checkbook, but when we look at these guys, when we look at public safety, I said it before, we want the best that we can get when we need them. You may never have interaction with law enforcement officers, that's great. But when you do, you want the best trained, most qualified, most professional law enforcement officer there to help you and represent you. So, we're not losing people to Lumpkin, Gilmer, Pickens. We're losing people down south, and that's where the money is. You can't hide the fact that, since I go back to 2008, since 2008, we lost 127 employees at the Sheriff's Department. That equates to about $980,000 of taxpayer money gone from here. Now, I'm a conservative when it comes to budget. I told you I managed the budget during the difficult times, made tough decisions, but not one of my employees was laid off, not one of my employees took a furlough, and our public safety effectiveness never decreased one bit. We were the same in 2012 as we were in 2007. So, I ask that you look at that, the candidates who've spoken, I ask that you look at who has the most experience, who has the education, who's had the background, who do you want to lead you in the future?
Mr. Perry.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all coming out here listening to us today. But listening to your qualifications, your education, and your training, 32 years, that's what I've given to law enforcement. That's my life. And I've got several years to go. But what I'm asking is for you to look at us, each individual person here. Now, it's hard, first time ever speaking in front of a group of people. This is the first time I've ever done this. And I'm nervous. I'll be quite honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you. I am nervous. But if you'll look at what I've done over my career, I mean, I've worked in every division. I've worked some hard cases. I've worked some child molestation cases that's it's unbearable. Now, I've been there. I've done that. My hands have been dirty. I've worked traffic fatalities. I've worked over 150 traffic fatalities. There's so much that I've done, 150 autopsies. It's just, my experience is unmatched. And all I do is ask if you'll look at my webpage, www.teamsosebee2016.com. I have given everybody something to review that I have written out for changes in the vision I have for this county. Please read it. Go to it and read it. And the only thing I'm asking is for your prayers, support, and your vote as your next sheriff. Thank y'all.
Mr. Wooten?
I'm going to start off by saying this. I believe that what you're looking for your next sheriff is someone you can trust. That's got to be first and foremost. Ethics, somebody that has ethics, somebody that shows that they care about this community. I was thinking about this when somebody was talking a while ago, and if we were to be honest, about 3/4 of this room, if I asked you if you have my cell phone number in your phone, would you raise your hand? 3/4 of this room would. And I can go ahead and tell you, about 3/4 of that 3/4 has called me when you have an emergency, when something's happened in your life that you needed help with. To me, that means something. That means something as your sheriff. There's nobody here that's not qualified. I don't believe in the unmatched experience. I would like to point out we do have more Georgia interns already at Dawson Sheriff's Office. I ate lunch with them yesterday. You got to get to know, you got to understand the sheriff's office. I understand that sheriff's office because I've been there. I've chose to go nowhere else. I've worked my way to the top. I'm not going to apologize for that. I don't have the number of years that some of these guys have because I haven't lived that long. But I'm not apologizing. I'm not calling you old. Moving through the ranks fast. I've commanded 4 of the 5 divisions of the sheriff's office. I'm the only one on this stage that's been the commander of an investigation. The commander, not the commander of it. Because the buck stops there. You can talk about what you've done all day long, but until you've been in charge, I don't want to hear what you've done, I want to hear what you've been in charge of. I've been in charge of the patrol division, the courthouse, the warrants, the civil, the schools, patrol, investigations, the 911 center. I've been in charge of all those things. I take that seriously because I'm bringing the experience of I've done that. I'm not making promises. I'm just not going to make promises to you. I'm not going to take things that I can't deliver on. I'm going to tell you, go back, look at my track record, or do this. Remember when you had an emergency, who you called. I talked to a guy the other day that came to me and said, Tony, can you help me out with a problem? I won't say who, but he supports one of these guys on the stage. And I said, why didn't you go to the guy on the stage? Why didn't you go to your candidate? Because you come to me because you know you want something done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Ladies and gentlemen, and I'll echo what Tony said. I think you need to verify experience. I think you need to take it upon yourself to verify. I can sit up here and claim that I have led this division, I've commanded this division, but I think it's incumbent upon each of you to go verify. Ask what that experience is. Have you ever rolled up your sleeves and worked on a murder investigation? Have you ever worked extensively in patrol? I can sit up here and tell you all day long that I've done this and I've done that and I've attained that. But it's all lays in the lap of the voter. You make the decisions. You do the independent verification of the information that's being displayed. Ladies and gentlemen, when you call 911, you're getting a representative of the sheriff coming to your assistance. And it's incumbent upon you to decide who you want, who has my best interest in mind. And ladies and gentlemen, it's one of those things that I've always abided by this, I've always heard this, I believe it to be the truth. That a shift's always going to be a reflection of its supervisor. A division is always going to be a reflection of its division leader. And the sheriff's office is always going to be a reflection of its sheriff. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about public service. It's about you. And unfortunately, it's politics. I know that. I understand that. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to share with you personally any questions, any concerns that you have. I would love for you to verify, I would love to verify my experience that I've had. I'll leave with a parting story as a young police officer responding to a missing person report at Kmart when it was in Kmart in Gainesville. When I got there, I was met with a husband. The husband said that you know, I don't know what's going on. My mind immediately went to focusing on, have you been having issues? Have you been problems? Are you seeing anybody else? No. So I took the incident report. I had her entered as a missing person. 5 or 6 days later, she was found. She had veered off the roadway going home and died in the ditch. Now, whether or not she died as a result of that immediate impact or she sat out there, I don't know. But I wish that I would have had a supervisor call me and said, Jeff, I know you're gone, but let's do this. Let's retrace the steps. Let's go back and look and see. That's what experience is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
If y'all will join me again in thanking Brooke for moderating and all these candidates for being here. I would go out on a limb and say no one impacts your individual life on a daily basis more than your locally elected officials. So please do consider that while you head to vote. If you us in the polls, we've been trying to start a social media campaign using the hashtag Dawson Votes. So if you are apt to take a picture of your voting sticker, which we all love to sport, even if you go to vote early, please take one and share it with